that mystery at the Vatican.
Every religion has faced scandal and controversy, but it appears that the Vatican has become notorious for its ongoing revelations. Vatican City is well known as the seat of the Roman Catholic Church and is located within Rome, nestled on the west bank of the Tiber River. Despite its small size, it is an independent nation-state and houses the Holy See. With a mere 49 hectares and a population of 453, the Vatican carries immense historical and spiritual significance, commanding great power. However, suspicions have arisen regarding the darker side hidden behind its opulence and influence. Over time, unsettling incidents have come to light, requiring attention. In this video, we will delve into the terrifying secrets concealed within this illustrious and esteemed nation, so stay tuned until the end to uncover the truth. Number 1. Pope Joan. The authenticity of the tales regarding a female pope remains uncertain despite their long-standing existence. Pope Joan, believed to have reigned over the Vatican in the Middle Ages, gained widespread fame in the 13th century. Though regarded as true for centuries, scholars now view this as a fictional account. Pope Joan, an extremely gifted individual, managed to infiltrate the church disguised as a man due to her intelligence. Through rapid advancement, she eventually ascended to the position of pope. It was not until the moment she unexpectedly went into labor during a procession that her true gender was discovered. She allegedly died after giving birth, with the cause being unclear. In response, the church began avoiding the area where she delivered, eventually removing her from the official list of popes. Furthermore, they implemented a ritual to ensure future popes were unquestionably male. According to Martin of Opava, her actual name was John Anglicus of Mainz, and her entry into the church was motivated by her lover. However, 16th-century Catholic and Protestant writers regard her as a fictional character. Number 2. Transcripts from Knights of Templar. One of the documents concealed in the Vatican's archives is a yellowed parchment containing a well-written black script that provides answers to numerous questions posed by historians. This document serves as the official court record, divulging the intricate details of the infamous trials of the Knights Templar in the 14th century, which centered around suspicions of heresy. The Knights Templar, a group of Christian warriors, had their origins in the Latin Kingdom of Jerusalem, where 9 knights were entrusted with safeguarding pilgrims under the authority of King Baudouin II and the Patriarch Warmond. However, the growing wealth and influence of these warriors led King Philip IV of France to suspect them, resulting in their persecution. Pope Clement instigated an investigation and subjected many of the knights to trial, although some were ultimately pardoned by the Pope. Recognized by the name Poor Fellow Soldiers of Christ and the Temple of Solomon, the knights had gained renown for their unwavering dedication to the Crusades and their refusal to retreat or surrender. However, it was their practice of secret rituals and their privileges, power, and wealth that fueled the accusations made against them by the king, ultimately leading to their downfall. In 1307, the leader of the Templars, Master Jacques de Malo, was apprehended on charges of heresy in France. Subsequently, many of the knights, including their leader, were burned at the stake, while others received lifelong imprisonment sentences. Following the trials held in France, similar proceedings took place in various locations such as England, Scotland, Ireland, Germany, Spain, and Cyprus, although their outcomes were slightly less horrifying. Number 3. The chronoviser. The chronoviser is a device that supposedly allows its user to see events that occurred between the 1960s and 1990. Father Pellegrino Ernetti claimed to have helped create this time machine and used it to witness the crucifixion of Jesus Christ. Although the existence of the chronoviser has not been proven, a book written by Father Francois Brune in 2002 revealed more information about it. According to the book, Father Pellegrino Ernetti, a Benedictine monk, kept the device a secret until the early 1960s. In the 60s, he confided in Brune and shared that 12 scientists, including Enrico Fermi and former Nazi Wernher von Braun, assisted in building the machine. The chronoviser was made up of cathode rays, antennae, and metals that could receive sound and light on various wavelengths. Its purpose was to document past events and validate teachings of the Bible. Brun's book mentioned that the device had several antennae, 3 of which were made of mysterious metals and acted as a direction finder to view desired eras. It displayed the chosen event on a screen and recorded footage. Father Pellegrino Ernetti claimed to have witnessed various historical events before his death, including Marcus Tullius Cicero's speech to the Roman Senate in 63 BC and the founding of the Roman Empire. He maintained that the chronoviser was hidden in the Vatican for safekeeping. However, as the individuals who revealed the device are deceased, the mystery around it remains, with the Vatican keeping silent on the matter and no concrete evidence supporting the claims. The existence of the chronoviser raises questions about its authenticity and why it is being kept a secret. Number 4. Rwandan tragedy. In 2017, Pope Francis issued an official apology to the victims of the infamous Rwandan genocide, a fact that drew significant attention. Despite efforts to keep it hidden, the Vatican could not escape responsibility for their involvement. It is widely known that numerous members of the Catholic Church participated in the ethnic cleansing that occurred in Rwanda in 1994. Instead of protecting the victimized Tutsi ethnic group, priests, nuns, and other clergy worsened the situation for them. Tragically, over 800,000 Tutsis and moderate Hutus were brutally murdered by Hutu extremists between April and June of that year. This violence was initiated by the Rwandan president, a Hutu, whose assassination triggered a vicious propaganda campaign against the Tutsis, led by the national media and the Presidential Guard. Both citizens and the Interahamwe, a Hutu paramilitary organization, participated in the slaughter, with many Hutus being coerced into killing their Tutsi friends and neighbors. Despite seeking refuge in churches, thousands of Tutsis were mercilessly killed with the assistance of clergy members. In one horrific instance, approximately 5,000 people were slaughtered in the Natrama Catholic Church, as Father Athanase Saromba ordered the church to be demolished with 2,000 Tutsi refugees still inside. Another priest, Father Wenceslas Munyashiaka, was charged by the International Criminal Tribunal for Rwanda for compiling lists of Tutsi individuals to be killed. Experts believe that the church demonstrated partiality towards the ruling Hutus throughout the genocide, offering them support. Number 5. Aliens. In the 17th century, Pope Paul V prohibited access to certain documents in the Vatican Library. It wasn't until 1881 that researchers were allowed to view them again. Speculation existed that these documents might contain proof of extraterrestrial life and its association with the Church. Allegedly, a Russian professor named Genrikh Ludwig was able to view these archives, which encompassed 12 centuries of European history. During his examination, he noticed some suspicious information. Various papers described the influence and interaction of aliens with ancient civilizations, particularly the Egyptians and Mayans. Additionally, Genrikh claimed to have discovered records of incredibly powerful ancient weapons. One text suggested that the walls of Babylon were melted by a weapon emitting an unimaginable amount of heat and energy, resembling today's nuclear bomb. Despite lacking evidence, it is intriguing to consider the possibility of our ancestors having contact with aliens. The truth about the existence of these records in the Vatican will remain undisclosed. Number 6. Vatican obelisk was stolen. Few are unaware of the prominent obelisk that stands proudly in the center of St. Peter's Square. Upon closer examination, this Egyptian-like obelisk closely resembles those found in Egypt, as it was indeed acquired from Egypt by the ancient Romans. It is rather ironic that a pilfered obelisk is exhibited prominently in the very heart of the Vatican. This particular obelisk dates back around 4,500 years, making it 1,500 years older than the city of Rome itself. Known also as Caligula's obelisk, it was taken by Caligula from Alexandria in 37 AD, with the intention of placing it in the circus, also referred to as the Circus of Nero, where chariot races and numerous executions were conducted. This was the very place where the unfortunate Saint Peter was mercilessly crucified upside down in 64 AD. The obelisk was subsequently relocated to its current position and remains the sole obelisk still standing since ancient Roman times. Very little knowledge exists about this obelisk. Even experts are uncertain as to which pharaoh commissioned its construction. Many find it disconcerting that a stolen artifact has been elevated to become a defining monument in the city of Christianity. Number 7. Satan's Spell Book. The Vatican houses an extensive collection of secret archives, including a forbidden and eerie book known as Le Grand Grimoire. This book is notorious as the most hazardous compendium of spells ever compiled, with origins dating back to 1520. Its author, Honorius Thebes, is believed by many to have been possessed by Satan. Written in either Biblical Hebrew or Aramaic, this foreboding tome was discovered in King Solomon's tomb in 1750. Legends refer to it as the Red Dragon, and recognize it as one of the world's most potent occult texts. Within its pages, one can find instructions on crafting magical talismans, amulets, and spells to secure lottery victories, as well as means to communicate with departed spirits and demons. Yet, the most petrifying aspect of this historical book lies in its spell to summon Lucifer himself, along with instructions on how to strike a deal with him. Numerous copies of this nefarious work exist, but experts dismiss them as either counterfeit or altered, rendering their spells ineffective. However, believers insist that even these versions possess some semblance of power and influence. The original manuscript remains in the possession of the Catholic Church, as its whereabouts remain known solely to them. Number 8. Child abuse. The past few years have seen a flood of sexual abuse accusations targeting the Catholic Church. These allegations have emerged from various locations around the world, including rural towns in Australia, schools in Ireland, and numerous cities in the United States and Canada. Although the USA witnessed the initial reports of such crimes in the 1980s, the most severe cases were documented in Ireland and Austria in the 1990s. During that time, the Church had no policies in place to safeguard children or ensure their well-being. Reporting crimes against children to the Church was not mandatory, and leaders have been offering apologies for many years now. The Boston Globe, an American newspaper, played a crucial role by exposing the child abuse and encouraging victims to come forward. From 2000 to 2010, several settlements were reached between the U.S. diocese and abuse victims. In 1995, the Archbishop of Vienna had to resign due to these allegations. Additionally, it was discovered that instead of holding the accused culprits accountable, the Church would transfer them to different locations, as revealed by the newspaper. A Church-commissioned report from 2004 disclosed that over the past 5 decades, approximately 4,000 priests had faced accusations of sexual misconduct. These priests had victimized tens of thousands of individuals, with the majority being young boys. In 2019, Pope Francis made promises to ensure that abusers face appropriate punishment. He organized an unprecedented summit on pedophilia in the Church and introduced legislative changes to criminalize sexual abuse. Nonetheless, the prevalence of cover-ups has not diminished. A recent investigation uncovered that around 216,000 children in France have suffered abuse at the hands of clergy members since the 1950s. Many perceive the Vatican's stance against child abuse as mere lip service, as the Holy See has failed to take firm action against criminal members of the clergy. Number 9. VatiLeaks. The scandal known as the Vatican leaks caused a global sensation, comparable to WikiLeaks but within the esteemed Church. In 2012, numerous documents exposing corruption within the Vatican were made public. The catalyst for this revelation was a television show called The Untouchables, followed by the provocative book His Holiness, The Secret Papers of Benedict XVI, penned by Gianluigi Nuzzi. Nuzzi, unveiling highly controversial and confidential information, disclosed memos and letters exchanged between Pope Benedict and his personal secretary. These documents shed light on financial misconduct, such as the acceptance of bribes in exchange for an audience with the Pope, as well as exposing an extensive corruption scheme linked to inflated contract prices. The letters from Archbishop Carlo Maria Vigano were particularly revealing in this regard. Additionally, the leaked documents exposed power struggles, envy, political maneuvering, and factional disputes within the Vatican. Remarkably, amongst them was a document prophesying that Pope Benedict would die within 12 hours, authored by Cardinal Paolo Romeo. Beyond financial discrepancies and professional animosity, the Vatican leaks unearthed a scandal involving blackmail targeting homosexual clergy members. The accuracy of the leaked information caused a frenzy, despite Pope Benedict refuting the claims as exaggerated rumors. Consequently, an urgent meeting of high-ranking Vatican officials was convened, leading to an investigation that resulted in the guilt of 2 individuals who leaked the information. These individuals were Paolo Gabriel, the personal butler of Pope Benedict, and Claudio Schiarpaletti, a computer specialist at the Secretariat of State. Their actions caused significant damage to the Vatican's reputation, but notwithstanding this, the Pope decided to pardon them. Number 10. The Vatican and Nazis. The Vatican's complicity with the Nazis is one of their hidden secrets. While Hitler and his Nazi army perpetrated horrific crimes during the World Wars, the Vatican chose to quietly observe without intervening. They turned a blind eye to the persecution of Jews under the oppressive regime. Yet, when the Nazis were defeated and the war ended, the Vatican facilitated the escape of thousands of war criminals and Nazi soldiers. These individuals found refuge in South America, using secret routes known as the rat lines. Multiple institutions collaborated in assisting these Nazis, allowing them to evade justice. The Catholic Church played a significant role in the operation, assisting notable figures such as Franz Stangl, Adolf Eichmann, Josef Mengele, Klaus Barbie, and Walter Rauff, who were responsible for mass murder and concentration camps. According to a Harvard researcher named Gerald Steinaker, even members of the Red Cross sympathized with the Nazis and provided them with travel documents to aid their escape. Despite being aware of the atrocities committed by these individuals, the Vatican supported and protected them. Evidence of this collaboration remains concealed within the Vatican archives, though efforts are underway to obtain access to these documents. Number 11. Jesus was married. Please note that the information provided about Jesus is not accurate. While there is ample knowledge about his death, there is scarce information about his life. Over the past few decades, rumors have circulated suggesting that Jesus lived a regular life like any other person. Supposedly, there is a manuscript dating back to the 6th century, originally in ancient Syriac and then translated into Greek, which offers evidence that Jesus was married to Mary Magdalene. Surprisingly, this narrative of Jesus marrying Mary Magdalene was not included in the Bible. Although the biblical account provides detailed information about his birth and death, very little is known about the approximately 30 years of Jesus' life. This particular manuscript, known as the Lost Gospel, presents Jesus as an ordinary individual who experienced love, marriage to Mary Magdalene, and even had children. Naturally, this discovery has caused controversy, with many questioning the manuscript's credibility. The British Library possesses this real book, but its origin, authorship, and the time it was written remain unknown. The Lost Gospel further asserts that Mary Magdalene was not only the daughter of God, but also a co-redeemer of humanity. The manuscript emphasizes her potential equal importance to Jesus, a perspective that is deemed unacceptable by the Vatican, which has put considerable effort into depicting Jesus as a powerful white man. Number 12. Trial of the Dead. A bizarre trial took place in the Vatican, showcasing the idiosyncrasies and small-mindedness of certain religious figures. Known as the Cadaver Synod, this ecclesiastical trial was conducted by the Basilica of St. John Lateran, with Pope Formosus as the accused. In 897, Pope Stephen VI assumed the papacy following Formosus's suggestion of this trial during a turbulent period in the city's history marked by numerous changes in pontiffs. Surprisingly, the accusations against Formosus, including perjury, unlawful assumption of papacy, and dual rule, were not made while he was alive, but rather 7 months after his passing. In accordance with Stephen's orders, Formosus's corpse was exhumed and presented in the papal courts, perched on a throne, with a deacon assigned to speak on his behalf. Unsurprisingly, Formosus was pronounced guilty, leading to his body being stripped of papal attire and 3 fingers from his right hand, used for blessings, being severed by Stephen himself. Additionally, all acts and ordinations performed by Formosus were invalidated, followed by his reburial in a foreign graveyard. Unsatisfied, Stephen had the body dug up once more, this time throwing it into the Tiber River with a weight attached. Many suspected this was a cold act of revenge by Pope Stephen, stemming from his discontent with Formosus, who had invited Arnulf of Carinthia to become emperor and betrayed Lambert of Spoleto. Reports emerged claiming that the body of Pope Formosus eventually washed up on the riverbanks, further fueling the Roman population's dissatisfaction with Stephen's vengeful and petty trial. This public outcry ultimately resulted in a revolt, leading to Stephen's imprisonment and subsequent strangulation to death later in 897. Number 13. The Secret Court. The Catholic justice system operates independently, with certain crimes being regarded as exceptionally serious by the Vatican. To address these offenses, a specialized court called the Apostolic Penitentiary or the Tribunal of Conscience is in place. Established by Pope Alexander III in 1179, this court remained unknown until 2009. The tribunal handles cases involving sins so grave that only the Pope can grant forgiveness to the offenders. While ordinary priests can handle crimes like genocide, those that reach the Apostolic Penitentiary must be even more severe. The offenses that can lead to a trial in this court include attempting to assassinate the Pope, revealing the sin or identity of someone who confessed, engaging in sexual activity as a priest, participating in abortion, and surprisingly, even spitting out a communion wafer. The Pope serves as the head of the panel and possesses the authority to grant absolution. The proceedings in this court are conducted privately and under false identities to protect the confidentiality of the accused. Due to the Church's belief that it involves matters of conscience, the nature of the crimes or the fate of the criminals tried in this tribunal remains unknown. Number 14. Exorcist Army. Despite the beliefs and findings of science and psychology, the Roman Catholic Church remains steadfast in its own beliefs. While many associate exorcisms with horror movies like The Conjuring, they were actually a common practice during the Middle Ages when people had little understanding of mental health. Surprisingly, exorcisms are still performed today, even in this age of advanced neuroscience and psychology. Father Gabriele Amorth, the former chief exorcist, alone conducted around 130,000 exorcisms in his lifetime before passing away in 2016. In 2018, the BBC reported that Vatican City hosted an annual exorcism school attended by approximately 250 priests. The Catholic Church believes that demonic possessions have been on the rise in recent years, and even Pope Francis himself has advised people to seek the help of exorcists for spiritual disturbances. There have even been rumors that Pope Francis has personally performed exorcisms, including one on a man in a wheelchair in 2013. Despite criticism that exorcisms are sensationalized and abusive, the Catholic Church continues to carry them out. In fact, several popes have performed exorcisms in the past decade. Father Amorth recounted an incident involving Pope John Paul II attempting to exorcise a demon from a woman who displayed abnormal behaviors. When the Pope's efforts were unsuccessful, Father Amorth intervened and witnessed the woman defying gravity by walking up a wall. The Church remains unconcerned with the opinions of the world and scientists, as they have conducted hundreds of thousands of exorcisms and plan to continue doing so in the future. Number 15. Secrets of Fatima. In 1917, the 3 secrets of Fatima became known to the world. Although the Vatican has remained silent about these apocalyptic visions and prophecies, the 3rd secret has gained significant attention from Catholics. These secrets were revealed to 3 young Portuguese shepherds by a Marian apparition now known as Our Lady of Fatima. Lucia Santos and her cousins Jacinta and Francisco reported being visited by the Virgin Mary 6 times between May and October 1917. Lucia eventually shared these secrets with the guidance of the local bishop, despite initial skepticism from people due to the lack of evidence. However, in October 1917, during the final apparition of Fatima, the Virgin Mary performed a sun dance that was witnessed by everyone present, including news reporters who published articles about the event. Originally, the children were instructed to keep the prophecies a secret, but almost 2 decades later, Lucia decided to write down the first 2 secrets. She still had reservations about disclosing the 3rd secret, but the bishop convinced her to do so. The first secret depicted a vision of hell, where the suffering souls were so pitiful that it was difficult to look at them. The second secret was a vision or premonition of the First World War and a subsequent war to follow. The third secret, however, was the most unsettling and was not immediately revealed along with the first two. Instead, Lucia wrote it on a piece of paper and placed it in a sealed envelope with instructions not to open it until 1960. Although the envelope was opened in 1960, its contents remained hidden from the public until 2000, when they were only disclosed to a select audience. The third secret described a vision of an assassination attempt on Pope John Paul II in 1981. It depicted a bishop wearing a white dress, struggling to reach a cross surrounded by the corpses of thousands of martyrs. Ultimately, the bishop is killed by bullets and arrows. Lucia also mentioned the presence of two angels standing under each arm of the cross. However, there are speculations that the complete contents of Lucia's letter were not made public, and the Vatican continues to keep it a secret.